Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake helping you create something awesome today. So today's video is a little bit different. Today we're going to talk about how to make a $100,000 a year income. And I did a video where I actually told you my story. I told you how I went from being broke in my 20s, struggling, being a broke college student, to in my 30s being successful as an entrepreneur, and what that meant for me and the people in my life, and how it just changed my entire perspective. In this video, I want to give you the 10 principles and 10 habits that absolutely resulted in me having a $100,000 a year income. This is very actionable and practical advice that I think will help a lot of you just change your relationship with money and with time. Now, again, don't take this as financial advice, and don't take financial advice from people on the internet at face value. Do your own research, talk to professionals, all the disclaimers, right? And a second disclaimer is I'm not selling you an online course on how to make money, but I am going to recommend 5 books that I absolutely insist that you read that I think will change your life and change your habits. So these are the 5 books that I absolutely am going to recommend to you. I'm going to recommend The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. I'm going to recommend The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and I'm going to recommend The Complete Guide to Money from Dave Ramsey. I'm sure you guys watching this channel probably are familiar with who Dave Ramsey is, so definitely make sure you're reading these. And the 5th book, which I don't have with me because I lent it out to somebody, is Millionaire Fastlane. For those of you who are really busy like me, or maybe you work a 9-to-5 job, I'm going to recommend you get these as audiobooks. So I'm going to link to all of them down below. Those will be Amazon affiliate links, but I also have a free 30-day trial for Audible. And so you can listen to 2 free audiobooks and you get to keep them even if you don't decide to keep the membership. So that's all linked down below for you. These 5 books I think are very important for anybody to read if they care about financial freedom. So let's jump into how to make $100,000 a year and the 10 principles that absolutely changed my life. Step number 1 to making $100,000 a year is to break down the goal. Step number 2 was learning high income skills, learning money making skills. Step number 3 to making $100,000 a year, learn to separate time from money. We're gonna go really hard on that one a little bit later. Number 4, study successful people and learn from their example. Step number 5 to making $100,000 a year, diversify your income streams and build multiple sources of income. Cannot stress this one enough. Number 6, if you want to make $100,000 a year, you probably want to start learning how to make passive income and automating your income. You want to automate your money in general, but you really want to make sure that you have some form of automated income going on in the background when you can't actively work. Number 7, I prioritized what was making me the most money with the least sacrifices. Number 8, I invested my profits in myself and also in my long-term future. Step number 9, network with successful people that actually have your best interest at heart. And step number 10 to making $100,000 a year is that you must remain optimistic and you must maintain absolute faith in yourself. You will not be successful. You will not be able to do the work that is necessary if you are not capable of maintaining your optimism. The single greatest barrier to success is not a lack of money. It is not a lack of time. It is a lack of optimism. That is a quote from Gary Vaynerchuk, and it's something that I live by every day, and it has completely changed my life. It was a response that he gave to me in one of the early episodes of the Ask Gary Vee show, where I asked him a question, and he told me flat out the biggest barrier to success was a lack of optimism, and he couldn't be more right about that. The suffering that you will have to go through in some cases day to day to put in the work required to raise your skill level, to be able to learn a new skill and to struggle at it and to suck at it, knowing that it's going to benefit you in the long term, is going to be hard if you can't maintain your optimism. Putting away your money that you work so hard for into an investment portfolio and hoping that the stock market gods don't rip it all away from you and everything. You have to be able to maintain your optimism to be able to take those kinds of risk. All right. Leaving behind a career or an income to say that you feel you can do better, to work on your full potential and to work on your own terms and to build freedom for yourself. You cannot do that unless you are willing and capable of taking a leap of faith. You cannot do that as a cynical and bitter person. And so I really feel that maintaining your optimism is essential to your success in this entire process. Now let's get into some of the finite deals of how to make $100,000 a year, and let's actually break down the goal like I talked about earlier. To make $100,000 per year, you would either have to make $50 an hour, or you'd have to make $275 a day, or have a salary of $2,000 per week, or $833.33 per month. That is the breakdown to making $100,000, but that applies if you trade your time for money. What I learned was there are a couple of ways that you can make money, and I've done all of them at some point, and I still do. You can either trade your time for money, and with one-on-one coaching calls and consulting with clients, doing workshops, doing public speaking, I am trading my time for money. I still do active income. A lot of people say, get a real job. It's like, I built a real business. So, I mean, that's just a razz for some of the people in the comments when I make these type of videos, okay? But I also learned that you can trade results for money, and so you can give those outcomes. And then I also realized that you can leverage outcomes and you can automate them. So when I talk about this, let's give you some real world examples. When I was a salaried employee, I was trading time for money. When I was a freelancer, I was trading outcomes for money because I was setting flat rates for whatever I was doing, whether it was freelance writing, video editing, graphic design. I wasn't working by the hour. And you know why I wasn't working by the hour? Because it meant that if I was efficient and effective at my process, if I was getting sharper and honing my craft and getting better, it was going to take me less time. And yet, if I billed for less hours, I would make less money. There's no incentive for efficiency when it comes to hourly work and billable hours. And that's nothing against anybody who works salary or has a salary, but it does mean that no matter how hard you work, you won't necessarily make more money. In fact, if you work really hard and really smart and you're super effective, you stand to make less money for doing a better job than somebody else who just happens to be slow at it. And that's absurd. That is insane. And so I don't do that, and I don't believe in it. Now, in trading outcomes and results, I still have to give up time in order to produce those results, but I'm rewarded for effectiveness and efficiency, and it doesn't matter how long it takes to get something done. If it takes longer, if it takes less time, I'm making the same amount of money, which puts a lot more control and leverage in my hands, and that's why I prefer that. If I'm gonna trade time for money, I want a guarantee of how much money it actually is at the end of the result that I produce and not have it be speculative. So I like the certainty of that a lot more. And that's why I went to that direction. And that's why freelancing was something that I started with before I became a full-blown entrepreneur. So then in terms of, creating leverage and learning how to automate that, make what we call passive income, what I refer to as automated income, there were a couple of different ways that I did that. And I got my start in this largely because of Pat Flynn, one of my favorite entrepreneurs. He is the host of the Smart Passive Income podcast. We've collabed on the channel before. I'll actually link to those videos so you can check him out, and I'll link over to his podcast. He's one of my favorite entrepreneurs. He got me into the concept of affiliate marketing. When I first did affiliate marketing, I started with Amazon, and this is just a fun story. This is not how I made $100,000 in this case. With Amazon, I made $12 my first month on Amazon, and I was actually really excited about it. My second month though, I was over the moon because since I was doing content and reviews on my blog and on YouTube for camera gear and video editing laptops, and I did articles. This is where I really made my money. It was the articles that I wrote that were for computer components to build Photoshop PCs for graphic designers, because I was known for that, and video editors. And so when I was doing these computer parts component breakdowns and using Amazon affiliate links, that's how I started making $500 a month on Amazon from these computer components and these camera lenses. And then it scaled up to $1,500 a month. So this was like my peak back in Amazon, okay? And a lot of it I really feel was like from these articles I was writing on these PC parts components, because that's what people were buying. And in my case, back then, I lived in a small town in North Carolina. I lived in a small military town in North Carolina. And so $1,500 a month is rent and utilities. So now I wasn't worried about freelance clients not paying me. I wasn't worried about any of that. And I was also making really good money from my freelance work with my writing. I was making like $1,200 a month on that. I was getting graphic design clients. So things were going well. And my goal back then, I never dreamed of making $100,000 until it seemed like it was within reach. I only needed to make $30,000 to $50,000 to take care of myself, to pay my bills, to get out of debt. That was going to be good for me. And it was close to what I was used to from working a salary job. But affiliate marketing and passive income woke me up to the idea that I could actually stop trading time for money. I could invest time up front, but I could keep making money from it long term. And later, this would be the same mentality that I took when it came to investing and buying dividend stocks and building compound interest and things like that, and started building my investment portfolio. But I'll get to that a little bit later. The way that I ended up making $100,000 a year came down to the fact that I diversified my income sources. I used the high income skills that I'd learned throughout my life, not only by, going to community college, but also on my own and from on the job, real world experience, working as a web designer, a graphic designer, a social media marketer, freelancing as a photographer. I was able to leverage all of those skills and all the results that I was able to get over the years, and I was able to start finding ways to make more money. But I want to tell you about my best affiliate marketing relationship, because affiliate marketing is the thing that you can get into with almost a $0 investment. And that's why when I talk about how to make money online and how to make passive income, I'm talking about things that I have experience with and things that have a low barrier to entry, because I came from a background where I was broke. I wasn't going to be able to save up $10,000 for a real estate property because I was like most Americans, living paycheck to paycheck, and wasn't able to really put aside significant savings, not because I was making poor financial choices or squandering my money, but because I really just wasn't making enough of it, and because there were emergencies and things in my family that just were happening that were beyond my control. And so I just wasn't in a position to have access to those things. And now that I am a successful entrepreneur, I do have the money for those things. And so yeah, I do the more conventional ways that people make long-term investments and passive income and things like that with stocks and real estate. But that would have never happened to me if I didn't take advantage of these zero cost or low barrier to entry opportunities and just work really hard on my nights and weekends to make this happen. My best affiliate marketing relationship is a YouTube SEO tool. In the 4 years of being a TubeBuddy affiliate and the 5 years that I've used the product, that relationship has generated almost $200,000 for me in passive income. And on a low month recurring, it's $5,000 a month of recurring monthly income. So that's a low month. So back when I worked a real job, my salary was like $36,000, $38,000 a year. And guess what? In passive income from even one of my income sources, I'm able to almost double that. And this is because I created upfront value by making tutorials and, showing people how to use the product to grow their YouTube channel and things like that. And a lot of people, they get the free version of the app and they're happy with it. Other people decide to invest in it and pay. I at least put them in a position to do that from an educated perspective and to know how to use the tool. And because that content is evergreen, it's search engine friendly, that's the irony of it. I still get new affiliate sales from videos I made even a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, are still generating me income, not only in ad revenue, but in affiliate revenue. And the affiliate revenue is recurring. So when it comes to separating time from money, I know people criticize me and others when we say passive income because these things aren't 100% passive, but nothing is 100% passive. And we're very upfront about that. But unlike more traditional work where you trade time for money and you get paid once and that's it, the work has zero value after that. The work that I'm doing on a regular basis, I'm focusing on work that makes me the most money long term, either the most money up front that it possibly can when I do things like, public speaking, like that's money up front. And it's very lucrative when I get paid to do public speaking or private workshops with clients, okay? But I don't continue to make money recurring after that unless I invest that money. But when I do a video on YouTube or when I write an article or when I do a podcast episode, there's the opportunity for me to continue to profit from that work long after I've done it. So that is why it's now automated. I'm now removed from the process of delivering value, and I'm removed from the process of absorbing that value in the form of a transaction. And see, that was one of those big mind-blowing shifts for me, is that we can literally automate our income because we see in the real world that companies, learn from successful people. Look at all these multi-billion dollar and trillion dollar companies. They are inventing ways to continue to get their profits and to make their money while removing human beings and human capital from the equation as much as possible. Is that 100% automated? No. It hasn't stopped them from continuing to invest in it and for it to continue to make them money hand over fist. So when I look at what multimillionaires as individuals are doing, let alone what billion-dollar brands and trillion-dollar companies are focused on right now, I'm finding ways to apply that to myself and to use it to scale my income. So I have diverse multiple income streams, both active and passive. I'm finding ways to network with other people so I can continue to learn from them and to humble myself and to learn from their example. And then I'm applying those lessons. And when I make my profits, I invest in my long-term future and I invest in resources and skills that will continue to grow me and benefit me. So I go to events, even when I'm not speaking, I pay to go to events so I can learn from smarter people and where I'm not going to be the smartest person in the room. I invest in my equipment and gear so that I can produce a better product or a better service. And I constantly reinvest in my own education over and over and over to always stay on top of the game and hone my craft. And in doing so, one of the most important things I really learned was I decided that, if I don't own my traffic, I don't own my business. So I doubled down on trying to build something that exists outside of affiliate marketing and outside of YouTube and outside the active income that I was making as, a consultant and a speaker. And so I decided to brand my coaching business and build awesomecreatoracademy.com. And so what I did with that is I took the coaching clients that I was already doing individually and I just built a formal website and brand. I moved it off of my Roberto Blake website. I gave it its own property and decided this is something that can scale up. And I used my skills and background as a graphic designer to build a digital template pack for YouTube content creators. It was my $99 product. And I realized that as long as I had a $99 product, that the ability to do a transaction with me exists that doesn't require an exchange of my time. I invested my time upfront to make over 120 assets that people can download in this one template bundle. I made a product at a price that people would accept, and then I sold it. And I also learned how to automate that with ads in addition to traffic from social media. And so I created an opportunity. I'm teaching you this lesson. If you build your own product and you own your own website, you can always find a way to get traffic. And as long as the ability to do a transaction with you exists, then you have a way to make money. It is really down to the transactions. A lot of companies and businesses, they don't provide a service, they provide a product. And if you have a digital product, you have really almost no cost against that, almost no margins. You build it once, you build the system, and then all you have to do is generate traffic. And you can either buy that traffic through ads or you can generate that content that does the traffic for you. You can make organic content that generates traffic. You can also grow your email list. And so these are the methods that I used and helped me grow and be successful. And so those are the strategies. Those are the exact things that I did that put me in a position to have a over $100,000 a year income and to grow a multiple six-figure business. And none of it happens overnight. If you have learned anything from my story and from my example and from the specific strategies that I just gave you, it's not something that happens overnight. I did this over the course of years, and I did it with skills that I developed over the majority of my adult life and even in my early teenage years. So I used a decade of learning and skills. And granted, that was in the time of the primitive internet and in a time where, again, our education system didn't even respect technology the way that we do today. And so I think that it's actually possible for people to do this a lot more quickly than I did, especially if they have the kind of education and guidance that exists on the internet today, and especially the content that I've been making for you, telling you exactly what I did and what I'm doing. And like I said, I don't make most of my money here on YouTube. It is my other ventures, and it's more about the access to people that YouTube gives me at scale. If anything else, YouTube gives me omnipresence, but so does Instagram and so does Twitter. YouTube, I just think, is the most effective platform because it has the search engine of Google behind it. And so that's something that I just take advantage of because I learned the power of Google in my corporate job and career and also in my life as a freelancer. And it directly benefited me to know that. And so I take advantage of it now in the form of YouTube. So that is my guide on how to make $100,000 a year. This is what I actually did, and I hope that you guys take advantage of the other content on the channel because I think it could really help you. Question of the day. What steps are you taking for your financial future? Let me know in the comment section. Also, if you want any other videos from me on affiliate marketing, passive income, building digital products, building online courses, ask me your specific questions in the comments. And if I don't have an answer for you, it might be something that I need to make a video for, or I'll point you in the right direction. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other awesome content here on the channel. As always, you guys, thanks so very much for watching. And don't forget, go out there and create something awesome today. Take care.